Welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here on this Saturday afternoon, December the 15th. We're continuing our conversation with Cliff Shuster, We Act Radio's own expert on gun policy, and we're talking, of course, about what happened in Connecticut yesterday. 27 people killed, 20 of them children. Cliff, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people talk about is, isn't there some technological thing that's out there that if we can have security on our iPhones and fingerprint IDs on all sorts of devices, why can't we have them on guns? In other words, why can't we make sure that, okay, if somebody's going to own a gun, that they are the only one that can use that gun, that the gun can't be stolen or the gun can't be taken as it was yesterday by Adam Lanza. The guns were taken from his mother. If there had been some sort of technology that says, okay, you have to have your fingerprint in order to activate the gun or for a certain period of time, it feels like some of these problems would start to get solved.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, David. What people need to understand, again, and I try to make this sort of case whenever I'm talking about this issue, is that the National Rifle Association doesn't want this stuff. They have an interest in trying to block this, and that's what they're trying to do. And the gun lobby, they want people to buy more guns. They want everybody to live in a shoot-'em-up society where you feel like the guy next to you might have a gun, so you have to buy a gun. This is their business model. So, yeah, there's smart gun technology. You know, it's kind of when people ask why aren't there more electric cars out there, they think about, you know, why in other areas of our lives technology has been blocked where it could have improved things. So that would be that. You know, there's smart gun technology that can tell who the owner of the gun is. There's also technology in New York. We tried to pass a bill that would make it easier to track guns, micro-stamping, so you would know which bullets came from which gun. And the sadly Republican state Senate there, which will remain that way because of a couple people who defected from the Democratic to the Republican Party, blocked that bill from going through. I mean, there's so much technology out there right now that can make it so that people can't just steal someone else's gun like that, so that we can much easier trace for guns, you know, where they come from, and a variety of other things. But again, people need to sort of understand the concept here is there's all sorts of things we can be doing, you know, that we do with everything else, safety measures, you know, that we would, the way we make people get, you know, a registration and license and insurance to drive a car, you know, and things like that we choose not to do. Because we've allowed people, and, you know, this is something I've talked about in a recent piece I wrote for Politico, where I pointed out the fact that this past election, you know, most of the people that were supported by the NRA, 6 of the 7 senators where they spent over $100,000 lost. They lost. They spent $12 million to beat President Obama. They lost. On the other side of the coin, the Independence PAC, which was run by Mayor Bloomberg, took on a Blue Dog Democrat in Los Angeles, Joe Baca, who'd been willing to co-sponsor any piece of NRA legislation that came in front of him, and he was beaten by a more progressive Democrat. So the equation on this is changing. And, you know, they're being exposed. Paul Waldman, who is a scholar who used to be at Media Matters, who writes for the American Prospect, did a study for the Center for American Progress, and it showed how the NRA, these big claims that they are so important in elections, are just not true. That in very few cases have they made a difference. They spread their money way too thin. They mostly support Republican incumbents in cases where they're going to win anyhow. They kind of slink away to the shadows when they lose. So there's no reason for people to be scared of them. This is a myth that's sort of run Washington, like so many other myths that run Washington. You know, there's a deficit problem that we need to solve immediately. You know, those kinds of things. And this falls in that realm, and people need to understand that these problems are all solvable. You know, you're never going to stop it completely, but other countries that have dealt with this, that have been largely, when people say, well, we're rural, we've got a tradition of hunting. Australia had a tradition of hunting, too. And after the Port Arthur massacre in 1996, they passed very strong gun control laws, and they haven't had something like that happen since. These problems are solvable.
We're talking with Cliff Shuster from We Act Radio, also works with the Mayors Against Gun Violence. Cliff, I want to get your reaction to something that Mike Huckabee said regarding why he thinks that there's a religious component to the evil that hit Connecticut yesterday. Here is Mike Huckabee talking about one of the components that he believes is in play and that helped contribute to the violence yesterday in Connecticut. Listen.
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing. We ask why there's violence in our schools, but we've systematically removed God from our schools. Should we be so surprised that schools would become a place of carnage because we've made it a place where we don't want to talk about eternity, life, what responsibility means, accountability, that we're not just going to have to be accountable to the police if they catch us, but one day we stand before a holy God in judgment.
Cliff, I think I get where Mike Huckabee was going, that perhaps a more sort of religion or a certain kind of peaceful spirit in schools maybe contributes to a certain atmosphere. I think I understand his point, but I disagree with it. But what do you think of it?
Well, again, this is sort of the all-purpose conservative, evangelical in a way solution. Brian Fisher, the anti-gay, was it American Family, one of the family groups, came out on Twitter and said something similar to that. Oh, we used to have God in schools. Well, you also didn't used to have people carrying assault weapons. You didn't have the kind of machinery you have today. And let's take this a little further. Does England have God in their schools? Does Japan, which in 2006, you guys were talking about this last night on Current, had 2 people killed by murdered by guns? I mean, do all these other places, many of whom, again, like England, and we think of the Dunblane massacre that happened in Scotland, and the Highlands, they're a rural area where people hunted. You think of Australia, you think of Canada. How is it that they put God in their schools after there were too many massacres and they said enough is enough? Or is it that they decide that they're going to do 2 things? 1, they're going to pass stringent gun control laws, and 2, that they were actually going to really fund, which is something that's not talked about enough too, mental health, to make sure that they had real systems of either when people needed to be put in institutions or just taking care of people, handling drugs in those countries, certainly in many of them a much better way than we do, where all we do is incarcerate and turn people into bigger criminals. I mean, the drug war, of course, factors into this, and again, it sort of it becomes a cultural thing too. People think, they don't treat guns as in many cases here as the deadly weapons they are, or as serious as they are, because we glorify guns to such a degree, and because we don't teach those lessons. I mean, that all is interconnected, right? Law, courts, the cases that come out of courts, the laws that are passed in Washington, how we show these things in popular culture. I mean, it all has a relationship, but in the end, the most important thing here is that we have a culture that sort of thinks the answer to everything is with a gun, which comes straight from the NRA and Fox News and the far right in most cases. And we've got a situation where we've chosen not to pass the same laws that every other country that's dealt with these same kind of massacres has passed. And that has nothing to do with God or not in the schools. So again, that may be the answer where people like Huckabee and Brian Fisher come from, this sort of white, old male evangelical version of what we're supposed to do. But, if you want to listen to them on guns, you should probably listen to them on gay marriage and abortion rights and civil rights and every single other thing they've been wrong about over the last century or pretty much since the beginning of time, perhaps.
Cliff Shuster from We Act Radio, also Mayors Against Gun Violence. Cliff, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for being part of the program today. 2 segments out of you today, and we know that you got a busy Saturday, but again, we appreciate all of your expertise and all of your encouragement for all of us who care about this issue. And have a great weekend, my friend.
I'll have to cry for another segment?
No.
I'm sorry about that, but listen, thank you so much for having me on and letting me come on and share some of this stuff on such a really sad but important day. Thanks for all the great work you did last night and today.
Thank you, Cliff. Cliff Shuster, We Act Radio, folks. And by the way, a lot of we're going to bring Daniel Marans into the conversation a little bit later. I know a lot of his fans are sort of used to seeing him pretty quickly. We are doing a couple of things differently today. And if you're on our TakeActionNews.com website, you can see we are actually broadcasting live video of our radio show. So we're trying to work out some of the technical kinks and make sure that both the video and the audio is synced up and that people are seeing the right things. So we'll get to Daniel Marans, I promise, but I do want to give a special shout-out to everybody, Ben Barnett, Keith Atkinson, and our Philadelphia Media Bureau, who are helping to monitor the live YouTube stream on TakeActionNews.com. And for everybody who's listening on our syndicated stations in Chicago or Ohio or Michigan or Oklahoma, or even if you're listening online, in addition to when you're listening on the radio, if you want to see what this program looks like, you can always go to our YouTube channel, Take Action News TV. We're going to be posting all the clips there. You can also, of course, always see the live stream between noon and 3 on Saturdays on TakeActionNews.com. And if you want to have a podcast of the show, we encourage you to go to iTunes or Stitcher. It's Take Action News. It's very easy, one click, and you can get the podcast, and then you can listen anytime you want. So, and one more thing I want to give a shout-out for, and that is we've got Charles Showalter, host of the Union Edge on We Act Radio coming up. He's actually a gun owner. We had originally booked him to talk about what happened in Michigan this past week with the right to work laws passing, and we will ask him a question about that, but we want to get his perspective as a gun owner about what he's hearing in terms of possible regulations and possible gun control. So we'll get to that on the other side of this break. You are listening and watching to Take Action News, Take Action News TV, We Act Radio. Thanks so much for being part of us. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back after this.